All right, I'm gonna lead you into this a little bit. You may have to think, well, what's this guy talking about? What are we looking at here? And so, one of the things is red and white blood cells. We have to have those, right? The red ones, again, you see up there, they transport the oxygen. So there's millions of them in our system. But they only survive for about 120 days. Okay? And the white blood cells, they are more of a defense mechanism. We only have around, in the thousands of those in our body at a time. They last anywhere from 5 to 21 days. Okay? You're thinking, hey, Benny, where are you going with this, right? What's the purpose of this? Right? Now let's look at something else really quick. Cholesterol. I'm not talking about that word, do we? No.
Doctors always talk about
They do. They do. Yeah. And so, again, that's the thing I hate, going to the doctor and they look at that and, they never really talk about the good cholesterol. They also talk about the bad cholesterol for some reason. I don't know why. But, that's that number that we always look at, and mine's always way too high. But, the good cholesterol carries the substance, all over our body. It gets the stuff through there. That flows through just fine. It's kind of like I thought about, it's kind of like the water. It just flows. But then the bad cholesterol is the stuff kind of like mud. It blocks the passage. Okay? But again, we're always going to have bad cholesterol, aren't we? Hopefully not as high, where the doctor says need some medicine for it, but you're always going to have it. And the good cholesterol, again, you want that to be good, and a lot of that. Okay? Well, we're going to look at something today that, again, where did this topic come from? It's just, again, I know I talked to, I don't know, Ken, if you remember back in June, July, we talked about this a little bit. And then, but also it's just something that's been coming up a lot lately. And yeah, it's something I struggle with a lot. I think a lot more, as I looked at this, a lot more than what I know I do, or what I want to admit. Pride. I was back in June, July, I was talking to Ken. And again, what has June kind of been pushed to be known for? Pride Month, right? And again, the wrong pride, the wrong sin that should be glorified, okay? But, they really push that. And again, a lot of times, I thought, in our lives, what do? We hide our sins, don't we? We're not really going, yeah, I'm doing this, And, but, if you see how I did that up there, with pride, there's good and there's bad in there.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's good, pride because again, what's some of the things that, take a little pride in yourself. Pick yourself up, right?
Proud of your man.
Yeah, proud of your family, and those things. So there's good pride to have, but also there's a negative pride. And that's why I kind of use the red and white blood cells, Again, there are two different things, but you don't have to have as many of the white blood cells as you do the red. The good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. You're going to have both of those, okay? But, you need more of the good cholesterol than you do the bad, okay? And so, again, pride, we're going to see, just some different things here that really hit me because I know I struggle with that more than I know, more than I realize, because, again, a lot of times I know for me, it may not be out this way, but it's in right here. I hide it in my heart. I'm hiding it there. I mean, again, I may never share it out loud, but I hide it here in my heart. Is that good for me or not? Probably not. Yeah, because again, what does Jesus say, about other sins? If you did it in your mind, you've done it. Again, so if I've got pride that maybe not confessed, but I have it here, and I can hide it, it's still a sin, isn't it?
But you can't hide
You can't, yeah. You can work on it. You can work to hide it, sometimes.
it.
Yeah, God can see it. And so that's one thing here, as I studied, it said this: pride is not always expressed as a negative quality in the Bible. It can carry a positive connotation of self-worth, self-respect, and self-confidence.
There's the word right there,
What's that?
self.
Self, yeah.
That's the bad part of pride, is when it's in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, too, though, you've got to have a little bit of pride in yourself to take care of yourself, you know? Because some people think, well, you know, I'm not worth anything, and so they just let themselves go. You know? And so they're not taking care of themselves. You know? Yeah, because sometimes we can see people are like, man, they got to clean themselves up. They look pretty decent. You know, I talk to them, they clean themselves up, but man, they're sure dirty, nasty. I'm not going to talk to them, you know? And so, but again, yeah, those you know, but again, I think as I look at that, there's that line, there's that balance you got to have on that pride. You know, again, that's the self. You know, you've got to know, when have I gone too far? You know, well, I guess just oh, Fred was there too. But again, Sunday night, we were talking on the way back, and they were talking. Well, we had Harold with us. And that man lacks pride. He's very humble, you know. And so he was talking, and you know, the thing was, they were sharing about some Greek myth, story, fable. I don't even know. I looked it up a little bit and read a little bit about it. So I was like, I never heard of that before. But the guy basically is his name is Narcissus, and that's where we get the word narcissism from. And basically, what I read today was that basically the guy was the most beautiful guy in all the world. In his own eye, but also in people's eyes too, from what I was reading there. But there was one thing, is that, I think it was, as long as he could live forever, as long as he didn't look at himself in the mirror. And so he did that for a long time. But then and I can't remember exactly, one of the other guys or Greek gods or whatever, kind of put somebody in the way and kind of somehow drew him down to the water to get a drink. And the guy looked in the water and saw his reflection. And he was just like, wow, that is beautiful. You know, and he ended up, he basically killed himself.
Narcissus.
Yeah. And so I thought, wow, that, you know, again, that's that pride, you know, man, that is beautiful. I want that. And supposedly people want to be around him and stuff. You know, everybody wanted to be, you know, around him. And so
One of
again,
King David's sons was like that. Which one was that? That had that beautiful hair and ended up trying to take David's throne. What was his name? Started with an A. Absalom, that's it.
so that came to my mind for a minute. And so I do want to share this with you really quick. Let me find my page here. I know I've got it. Yeah. Got this thing. Come on. Charles H. Spurgeon described pride as an all-pervading sin. It's always there. Okay? And one of the things he shared this little illustration. Pride is so natural to fallen man that it springs up in his heart like weeds in a well-watered garden. Its every touch is evil. You may hunt down this fox and think you have destroyed it, and lo, your very exaltation is pride. None have more pride than those who dream that they have none. Pride is a sin with 1,000 lives. It seems impossible to kill it. You know, I thought about that. Wow, that is so true, because again, you know, like he said, you hunt that fox down, you kill it, and what do? You go, look what I did. You know, and again, it is about us. You know, so much we want to, it's that desire to be important. Does that sound like something, to be somebody, to be recognized, in our lives? And so,
I think that's someone that's not a Christian,
so it's not a Christian?
has no
Well-
desire to be one. It's all about, I'm perfect, it's all about me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A good Christian would give God the glory instead of himself.
Right.
I don't know that I qualify. I'm a Christian, but I'm not sure I'm a good Christian.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
That's hard to do. It's hard not to take credit.
mm-hmm.
It's hard to give God the credit when you feel like you're the one that's done it.
And it's, as I thought, it's easy to get caught up, think about sports. Again, when you play a sport, what do you want to do? Win.
You want to be the best.
You want to be the best. You want to be known as the best, don't you?
Right.
And what does that mean? Pride. It's right there. And it's just one of those things that's always there, I mean, how many of y'all would call yourself a good driver? You do? Are you better than the person in the passenger seat?
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you are, because there isn't anybody else. A kid?
Not in my case, no.
No, the passenger's always a better driver than you are.
We
No
didn't say
question.
who was.
So, but again, think about that, I mean, it just, and again, I think it does come to the Christian, again, something I always ask myself, I know I'm not good enough. I know I'm not the best Christian, and again, realizing that, but then I still get caught up in the cycle of what's going on in the world and who I'm around. Who is feeding my ego. Yesterday, Jordan got
Well, I feed your ego, you pointed at her, did she
Yeah.
feed your ego?
It sure is quit raining, yeah. But no, yesterday, Jordan kind of got a little, was it a scuffle? A little scuffle at school, after school. It was after school at practice. And him and, I don't even know exactly what all happened, okay? But it was enough that he was crying, he was upset. But I said, well, what happened? He goes, well, the one kid knocked the ball out of this other kid's hand. And so Jordan reached over, from what I understand, and knocked the ball out of that kid's hand. And I go, well, what did you do that for? He goes, oh, because he was messing with my friend. And I go, well, you just gotta let your friend take care of that, because now you're in trouble. And he goes, but the problem is, Dad, that the kid that was, the first one was being picked on, he goes, he won't do anything. He won't stand up for himself. Well, and that's good you were looking out for your friend and you knew what he would do. But again, that little bit of pride there, dude, can't be fighting everybody or wanting to fight everybody. So, and so again, that pride, and again, it's something, last week again, it's something I've heard, I don't know, I was surprised Sunday night, talking about pride a little bit on the van. And then last week I was at a meeting with some old youth ministers and stuff, saw Paige Cole, he used to tell you guys hi and stuff. And but I heard so many of those guys talking that talked about pride. Their pride got in the way, or they let their pride get in the way, and it affected their ministry, their life and stuff. And so I think about, man, it's such a big deal, because our pride, who we are is important.
Well, I think it consumes us. It consumes some people. That they want, okay, they got a little bit of this, now they want a little bit of this. They just want to get bigger and better, without even thinking of the consequences sometimes. And like I said, most of them are not true Christians.
Yeah, yeah. But then the thing is, though, if some of y'all got pulled over and you were going, let's say 30 miles with a speed limit, Would you be excited to tell somebody? No. You'd be ashamed, wouldn't you? Because it would affect how people thought about you. You know, I think about that, just, it's, not the big things, but sometimes just the little things is what can kill us.
But to Karen's point,
Yeah,
a few years ago, I might have been proud to tell somebody.
yeah,
I might have wanted to tell somebody. But since I've become a Christian, that has changed.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, that makes a great point. Again, a lost person would go tell somebody, the bad things they did. Man, I got caught, man, and he would, this is what I was doing, and he barely caught me. I was almost got away from him, bragging about it. But yeah, as a Christian though, we're gonna be more like, oh, nobody finds out.
We're gonna be more subdued about it. We're
Yeah.
not gonna-
There's a fine line you have to walk,
Mhm.
because it's real hard to have pride and be humble at the same time.
Yeah,
And we are, if we're nothing in God's sight.
mhm. So, let's
You
get,
brought up Jordan.
uh-huh,
I think that's part of his problem yesterday, was he knew it was wrong, and that's why he was so upset when he came to me. And had such a hard time explaining what happened.
yeah.
And then that's evidence that y'all are doing a good job raising, because he knows the truth.
I didn't think it was gonna be tough.
So I got a few verses here. We're gonna look here at Psalms and Proverbs this week, at some of the word, and again, kind of with the word pride, there wasn't very many verses, but you could add in proud or arrogance. So some of these verses will have those words in them. Some of them have a couple of those words in them. But again, let's look at this and see what the psalmist David and in Proverbs what it says about this. Okay, I'm gonna start off here. Read verses 4 through 8. Out of Psalms 5, and I added some verses to it just so we can understand what it was saying. Okay, verse 4: For you are not a God who delights in wickedness. Evil cannot dwell with you. The boastful cannot stand in your sight. You hate all evildoers. You destroy those who tell lies. The Lord abhors violent and treacherous people. But I enter your house by the abundance of your faithful love. I bow down toward your holy temple in reverential awe of you. Lord, lead me in your righteousness because of my adversaries. Make your way straight before me. So again, I just read all that because, again, just getting the whole story there. But again, verse 5 was the big verse there. Just again, boastful, okay? And so, the thing about that, how David there is talking, and just basically, about the boastful people, how God hates them, but also how he wants to enter God's house and to be in a right relationship with God. Okay? Now, Psalms 101, we're going to do the whole chapter. Okay? The reason, again, just so we can have the whole understanding, the whole setting of this chapter as we look at this, okay? So Psalms 101. I'll read this and then I'll let you guys read some of the rest of that on down as they're shorter. I will sing of faithful love and justice. I will sing praise to you, Lord. I will pay attention to the way of integrity. When will you come to me? I will live with a heart of integrity in my house. I will not let anything worthless guide me. I hate the practice of transgression. It will not cling to me. A devious heart will be far from me. I will not be involved with evil. I will destroy anyone who secretly slanders his neighbor. I cannot tolerate anyone with haughty eyes or an arrogant heart. My eyes favor the faithful of the land, so that they may sit down with me. The one who follows the way of integrity may serve me. No one who acts deceitfully will live in my palace. The one who tells lies will not be retained here to guide me. Every morning I will destroy all the wicked of the land. wiping out all evildoers from the Lord's city. And so David's going to strive to get rid of all the evil. He doesn't want that. Again, as it said there in verse 5, I cannot tolerate anyone with haughty eyes or an arrogant heart. Well, that's like, man, but again, that heart, and again, it may not come out, but it may be in here, but there may be some actions that can kind of reveal what's inside there. We may not say that somebody is unworthy of our love, or of our attention, of our help. Well, I'm a lot better than them, so I can't bow down. I can't go down to their level to help them. And yeah, I may never say that, but I'll never go their direction. No matter how many times somebody may say, I may look for something else to do. And so again, David there is looking to, live righteously. And that's one of the hardest things, again, as you read this, what's the one thing people remember about David? The end of his life. Yeah, the fall there. And yet here in his life, he was desiring to be obedient to God. So, who wants to read chapter 119? Not all that chapter. That takes a couple of days. Verse 78.
May the arrogant be put to shame for wronging me without cause, but I will meditate on your precepts.
Yeah. Let the arrogant be put to shame for slandering me with lies. Again, I'll let you handle it, God. Maybe you may be taken care of. I'll let you handle it. Again, as I think about with David, again, when he was appointed to be king, and really what, as I said, it wasn't known yet, but Saul's kingdom was over, coming to an end, and Saul was coming and attacking David, and but David really never attacked him, tried to kill him, and but David says, hey, that's God's job to end Saul's kingdom, not me. I'm going to trust the Lord. Okay? And so I think about that, as we read that verse, let the arrogant be put to shame for slandering me with lies, And so, Proverbs, let's go over to Proverbs now. We've got a few verses over there, and maybe we'll be done on time. As we read here in Proverbs 8, 12 through 14, one thing to remember here, and it'll start there in verse 12, and we'll see that. But again, this is wisdom, the voice of wisdom talking. Anybody want to read 12 through 14?
My wisdom dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way. And the perverse mouth I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom, and understanding I have strength.
Think about that. That's wisdom talk. I have wisdom and I have strength. Anybody ever made any unwise choices?
Over today,
I don't know. Yeah, again, we've heard, hey, here's what you should do, and we went the other direction, didn't we? We didn't do follow the example that was set before us, or these directions that were given to us, And many of those things you bought at Walmart, and you threw the directions out the window, and you put some cabinet together. I call it. Yeah. You got 3 extra screws, you don't know where they go. Trash. Let me tell you, I tell Crystal that we buy some of that stuff from Walmart, the cabinets, whatever, and it doesn't have to be from Walmart, but you know what I'm talking about. Those ones that are already kind of pre-made, you say, you can do it with a screwdriver, put it together in 10 minutes. I think those are, Satan makes those. Because he just wants to make you cuss and you to throw a fit. Gosh. So you gotta be patient, I gotta pray before I start on those things. All right? Let's look at Proverbs chapter 16.
18 was misquoted wrong scripture.
Okay? Let's read 5 first, and then you can read 18 and 19 and quote it correctly. Somebody got verse 5 or chapter 16?
Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished.
Okay, proud. You know, verse 18 and 19 there.
Pride goes before destruction, and a hefty spirit before the fall, or asphalt. Better be a humble spirit and with the lowly, than to divide the spoil with the proud,
Okay, so pride goes before destruction.
not the fall.
Yeah, I mean, just think about that. You know, again, we see that so much.
I didn't deep like that, I got one concern if I remember right.
Yeah, you know, pride, I mean, gets so big and we let it go forever, don't we? Because it, man, you know, when our pride is going good, man, life is good, isn't it? And we don't look sometimes for the signs that says, hey, we're about to have a train wreck. Get things fixed up, get them in order, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, but then, you know, again, then verse 19, it'll be better to be a lowly of spirit with the humble than to divide plunder with the proud. You know, that lowly of spirit.
Very, very humble.
Do people notice you? Maybe. Do you feel important?
Yeah.
You can, yeah. A lot of times though, we do stuff and it goes unnoticed. And then there's this little thing that pops up called Satan, and he goes, man, nobody's recognizing all the things do you realize how much you're doing? You know, people ought to recognize you.
This is happening with me, my work.
Oh, yeah?
There's a scripture in the Bible that says you should do all things as to unto the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those things shouldn't matter to you.
They shouldn't. But you know, again, the fallen world and sinful man, and we get distracted, and we start focusing on those things. And you know, again, that's where the pride goes, crosses the line, loses the balance. And guess what? We're upset, we're mad, we're nowhere close. And we're not doing stuff because we want to do it. But when we do it now, we're like grumbling. I gotta go clean the toilets again, you know, so somebody else will do it, you know. You know what I'm saying there. And so, again, that lowliness, and again, trusting God. Trusting God.
Personally, I'd rather live with the lowly. That's where I'd rather be.
Mhm.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care nothing about being up there in the ivory tower.
Amen.
yeah,
Everybody's examining you, too.
That's right.
yeah,
And ain't no higher, you can't go any higher.
yeah.
And then when you don't do the expectations that they think you should, then they're just like, what? You say you're a Christian, you say you do this, and it's not always true.
Well, that's a lot simpler than here with the lowly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like simple.
But I also
Let's
like,
get to these last couple of sets of verses. Proverbs 21, 23, and 24.
Whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from trouble. A proud, empty man, scupper is his name. He acts with arrogant pride. Very, very heavy.
You know, me and Jordan went to the JV football game, or ninth grade JV game, whatever it was, and on Monday night, and there was a kid that he scored a couple of touchdowns, and you know, and then the thing was, you know, the mom stood up and goes, "That's my boy! That's my boy! You know, I'm proud of you, son." And you know, I thought about that, so like, you know, again, as being pride, you know, again, man, who wants to see our kids do well? Do we want them to do well enough so I can boast about them? And again, that same thing, it's good to be proud of your kids, but sometimes do we go too far? You know? It kills our,
Because you set expectations for your child to do better
yeah,
when that starts happening.
yeah.
I've got a little bit of a problem with today's society about how much emphasis they put on sports.
Yes.
I'd a whole lot rather than be proud because he's at the top of his class in academics, but he scored a touchdown. I don't know how that's gonna serve him later in his life.
Oh, Ken, you just don't know, do you?
Yeah, I know, well.
Oh, come on, man, get with the
Try to
system.
grow and get be a millionaire.
Yeah,
Every one of them,
Yeah, everyone, is what they got on their mind at least.
what the coaches tell them.
so, I'm gonna skip this last verse because we're out of time, but I do wanna share this little quote here I found. Learning to live on less pride has been a great investment in my future. Take that home and think about that. This is a lady, I didn't know who she was, but she's written some books and stuff and stuff like that, have lots of quotes, but again, I thought, man, you know, that, we're talking about pride, the balance, learning to live on less pride.
Middle name is so much. I'd be arrested. Straight over.
I can't remember where she was from. It said, the only thing I looked it up today, but,
First name is
Katerina.
that way, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Russia too,
So,
Yeah.
but she,
Katerina Skokova.
I want to say she came to the United States like in 95, I think, or something. I can't remember where she was from. So, guys, thank you for listening to me and you help me work through this. And I pray that I would do better with my pride, but also, you know, make you examine yourself and see, again, where we're at on that. Okay? Let me pray for us. Dear God, just come and thank you for this day, thank you for this time, God. And Lord, I pray, God, we would examine our pride, Lord, again, that we'd have some pride in ourselves, God. But God, we'd also, God, not use it in a way that doesn't honor you, God. And God, I thank you for the rain you brought tonight. And Lord, we do pray for Eddie, God, may you be with him tonight and in the morning and in the days ahead, God. As he has the surgery, be with Susie, God, as she takes care of him. And God, we do pray for a good recovery for him, God. And Lord, I pray for our soldiers, God, again, Lord, be with them in these days. And Lord, be with our church. In your name I pray. Amen.
Pride does very,
Uh-huh.
pride, the word pride itself.
Proud of
Yeah.
Proud of it.
There you go.